Well, Sunday, August 19th, a big night in WWE. SummerSlam going to be live on pay-per-view. Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. You got the World Championship, champion Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio, the WWE Championship. It's going to be huge. CM Punk versus John Cena, the big show. You got Kane versus Daniel Bryan. And you know Daniel Bryan well. Who's this I have on the phone? It's the current Raw GM. And congratulations, by the way. AJ, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, AJ. It's really cool to have you on here. And, I'm a big fan of yours. I really enjoy the way that you've climbed the ladder of success in the world of sports entertainment.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It seems to me, before we get into some more SummerSlam talk here, I think you've been a fan like your whole life, right?
Yes. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I definitely have. And so this is clearly all, I'm still enamored with everything that's happening. Like, I just saw myself on the Raw intro for the first time and just marked out. I was like, oh my God, I'm on the Raw starting. But so I'm definitely a fan getting them to live their dream.
But you're going into SummerSlam. You probably grew up watching this. This is like I refer to it as the WrestleMania of the summer. I feel like it's the WrestleMania of the summer, SummerSlam. It's a show that can't be missed. And you're going to be there, and you have such a huge part in it. Do you know what you're even going to do yet? It's going to be crazy.
I don't know. I'm ready for whatever they're going to need a Raw general manager for. I'm going to be keeping my eye on all of the matches I've made. So I'm just so excited. I'm proud to have put those matches in there, and those are kind of my babies right now. So I am so excited. And it is the WrestleMania of the summer. We have whole SummerSlam access where we get to interact with the fans all week, and I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to this upcoming week.
I know you've been in WWE for, a relatively short time considering, but you've done so much. So I kind of want to give the fans, I like to let them in on who you are, where you came from, and you say you're a fan. So what are some of your earliest memories of watching wrestling or WWE on television?
It was more of like a family interest when I was really young, and we would watch Hogan and Macho Man, and I've said it a lot before. Miss Elizabeth is my first idol ever.
I knew it. I could tell by your work. I can tell by your facial expressions. I thought you and Daniel Bryan had that whole Miss Elizabeth Macho Man thing. I thought that's the road you were going to take, but then it changed. But that's a huge person to look up to.
It's funny, I've heard that before, and it's kind of interesting how, for a new generation, that's, kind of what we brought to the table, and then kind of morphed into something so completely different. But, I was definitely a huge fan of hers, and Jake the Snake and Roddy Piper, and oh my gosh, those are my earliest memories. And going into grade school and high school, I was a huge fan of Molly and Trish and Lita and Stephanie. And so I've been watching for a really long time and just looking up to the women and more specifically women, and just dreaming of being one of them one day, and kind of maybe mixing the best of all their personalities and seeing, adding a little bit of me and seeing what we could come up with. So
I'm just happy you didn't mix Bertha Faye in there. Listen, so when you were growing up, you say you watched it was a family thing. So when did you decide this is my career? This is what I want to do with my life? And I'm curious how your mother and father reacted. It's for a woman, it's a different kind of business to get into.
It definitely is. Me and my brother would watch when I was around 11, 12, 13, and he went to the Army, and so I would watch all the episodes, and for some reason I thought he would really want a rundown, and so I would write him rundowns and send it to him when he was in the Army. Like, this is what happened on SmackDown, here's the match, and so it just kind of was like our one thing that connected us while he was in the Army.
Yeah.
And so when I was 12 years old, I remember I was just sitting there watching and writing stuff down for my brother, and my mom walked past my room, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be a wrestler when I grow up. Like, I decided it right there. I knew it. And she's like, okay, and just kept walking. But I don't think people believed me, and they kind of thought it was a phase I was going to grow out of and maybe become a girl one day. But I was just such a tomboy for so long, and it just never changed. I never grew out of it. And so I started when I was 18.
So, wow. Okay. So there's a video online that I saw of, for a quick second, you're there in an autograph signing, like giving Lita a hug and almost losing it in front of her.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that online. And I wonder, was that a point where you were really like this, like you were pretty sure, but then you met her, and was it like a magical story where it's a point where you're like, this is it. There's nothing else.
I think I decided before then, because I think I'm like 13 or 14.
Oh, a year earlier you decided. I see.
The funny story that it's just the weirdest surreal moment. maybe a year ago at the Slammies, I actually showed Lita that video, and I was like, "Look at this!" And so it was very cool to have that moment. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so cute!" That was a time in my life when I growing up I didn't have a lot, and we had a really rough childhood, and my only kind of escape from all that was wrestling, and was having these women to look up to, and just hoping, one day I could get out of it and maybe I could be like them and get myself out of the situations I were in. And meeting her was it was kind of like, okay, this is my hero. This is the only person I have to make me feel better about life right now. And it was such a good moment for me. And you can actually see my mom in the background all crying. And yeah, so it was such a, it's like, yes, I'm a huge fan, and I loved her. I loved meeting her, but it just represented I was going through a lot. If I could talk to little AJ back there and just tell her what would happen one day.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was actually thinking of that. What would the young AJ talking to the current you, let's say, the young AJ talking to the current you, at what point in your career so far would the young AJ have been like, oh my God, I've made it. This is crazy.
I think just getting signed would have been enough for me, and
right.
Really just being a part of the company, just being anything. I still have the first envelope they sent me, the first mail. I keep everything, and just seeing WWE, coming to in my mailbox, and so I'm such a fan, and I think just getting signed would have been the most amazing thing in the world to me. And but everything we've done so far, I think. Just having a WrestleMania moment already, is mind-boggling. I don't even understand it. Hopefully one of these days I could sit down and kind of drink it all in, but it's been kind of go for the past, year and a half, and so it's still very surreal, and I kind of don't believe it still, but I'm waiting to wake up.
Yeah, right? It is totally surreal. I mean, it's got to be huge for you. So explain the day you got that call and they said, you're signed, AJ. What were you doing? What happened?
Oh, gosh. Well, I took a not very traditional route, and I saved up a lot of money and paid to try it out. There's a yearly camp where, just anyone in the independents, you can just pay to try out.
Darren Young went on that camp, I think.
Yeah, we were the same one, and so we there were 70 guys and 4 girls, and they were all models, and they were all I didn't think I had a chance, and it was a 5-day camp, and just saved up all the money I had for months, and actually got signed at the camp, and they announced it there, and so that
wow.
was I literally I fell to the floor crying. It was the best moment of my life at that point, and. Yeah, that was insane. That was one of the best days of my life, for sure.
Do you think that being a fan your whole life gives you more of an advantage over somebody who, say, comes in, wants to make a couple bucks, might be good at what they're doing, but they kind of haven't followed it?
I think, there's pros and cons. I think I'm not going to be the person that's a good host, or is just natural when it comes to there's something that we need actors and models for, and people can change. People can my best friend in the business, Caitlin, comes from a different background, but she's getting amazing in the ring, and so people can kind of morph into and work so well in our business. I think as a fan it helps because I've seen a lot of it, and I kind of know what works and what doesn't, what people respond to, what people relate to, because I know what I related to, and that's why I'll shop all my clothes on TV. You can just go to the mall and find. I want little girls to be able to wear exactly what I'm wearing. Besides the power suits right now.
yeah. Well, I like that. That looked good though. The power suit, man. You're gonna see little girls showing up to the show in their power suits with a briefcase and stuff.
That would be awesome. It's a good example to set.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, being a fan and seeing what works and what doesn't work. I'm curious because I think that one of your best things that you do that comes across on television, especially with the work with Daniel Bryan, were your facial expressions. I mean, it made people feel something. Was that did you model them off like Miss Elizabeth, or did you just do them on your own? How did you start doing so good? I mean, they were awesome.
Oh, thank you. I think in my head I have a lot of inspiration and a lot of people that I think of or I've watched just growing up. But to me, it's. I think just being there in the moment and kind of blocking everything out, and I don't know. I don't know. I really appreciate when people say that, and I don't know what I'm doing because I'm just kind of doing it. but I don't know. I think like it's just kind of in immersing yourself in the moment when you're out there, and maybe the camera will, you know, it all started off very, very small, and the camera would be on me for 2 seconds of a match, you know, and you kind of make the most of those 2 seconds the camera's on you, and it kind of gets a little bit more. Then the next match you get 5 seconds with the camera on you, and then, you know, and so I kind of don't know the answer to that. But
that's fine. You're thinking like a star, basically. You're saying, I have a little bit of time, I'm going to do the best so I can get more time. That's a good enough answer for me. AJ, I'm going to let you go, but I have to get to one more question here from Facebook. I feel like I put up on Facebook that you were coming on, and don't take us the wrong way because you're beautiful, but every single male, every guy who responded didn't give me a serious question. It was, will you go out with me? Some stuff I can't even repeat here they were asking. So I sift through all this, and I find one that somebody asked. It says semi-serious. As you're a fan, you know, back during the Attitude Era and all, different time, I know it's PG now, but Sable and a lot of the other divas would do Playboy. This guy wants to know if there's any chance that you would be open to doing Playboy if WWE allowed it.
Oh my God, never, ever, ever. That to me, there's oh my gosh, you know, I can barely wear a low-cut shirt. You know, I'm just a prude, and I think that's what works for me, is kind of being very innocent and prudish, and so that's gotten me pretty far. And I think there's certain things that should be left to the imagination.
I think that's better. That'll make you more money in the end, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing wrong with it, but it's not for me.
Oh, yeah, right? AJ, the GM from Raw, big WWE superstar, diva on the line, and I appreciate you coming on SummerSlam on pay-per-view August 19th. Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. Who takes it, AJ?
I'm going to go for Triple H. I believe in him, and he's one of my favorites, but it's not going to come easy. I think that it's going to be the most brutal match we've seen in a long time. And what about Sheamus versus Del Rio for the World Championship? Who do you think? Del Rio got on my bad side this week, so I made him wrestle in dress tops. So I don't know who's going to win, but I'm rooting for Sheamus. All right. We have a long history, Sheamus and I. I know. And then you have WWE champion CM Punk versus Cena and Big Show, three-way, triple threat. Who's your pick for that one? Oh, gosh. You know, Punk's broken my heart, and Big Show has run me over, so I'm going to say John Cena. he's the best choice. And the last one that I saw that's been announced, Kane versus Daniel Bryan, who you know well. Who do you think? Oh, gosh, I'm really hoping that Kane comes out on top on this one. He's been nicer to me than Daniel. They both dumped me on television, but Kane had a little more tact to it than Daniel did. But that should be a really good one. Kane's a wild man. You know that going in, so you're setting up for a heartbreak there. All right, well, it's going to be a good night. August 19th, SummerSlam on pay-per-view. It's SummerSlam's the biggest thing of the year. I mean, I still get excited for SummerSlam. My whole life I've gotten excited. It doesn't stop, and you're going to be on the card. So, AJ, anything else you want to plug before you get out of here? Your Twitter, perhaps? Your tout? Well, my Twitter and my tout are both WWE AJ Lee, and Raw is on Mondays at 8 at USA, and we're actually doing a Raw Active, so you can follow me on Twitter, you can tweet me, you can tweet the WWE, and get matches that you guys want to see made on the show. Do you have like a P.O. box where they could send you Chuck Taylors? Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious. I have like 40 or 50, so I think I'm set for a while. Oh, there you go. All right. Well, look, AJ, I really thanks for coming on and visiting with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.